What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay back up in this mug. This is the guy we're taking a look at today. Really cool looking model. If you would like to purchase one for yourself at any time, I'm going to include a link down in the description. And thanks for supporting Scibor Miniatures as well as my channel. If you'd like to help me out even more, you can click that like button, leave me a comment before you go, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and if you'd like to be an even bigger supporter, then I would love it if you could head over to the Patreon and become a member there. Thanks for watching. Let's get on with the show. Alright players, I bought this model for a little bit over 10 bucks, and it is a Scibor Servant Dice Bearer. It comes with a decorative base. The model itself doesn't require any gluing together. It comes in one solid piece, and that is both a positive and a negative, as you will see. The positive is that you don't have to do any extra building. Pieces aren't going to get lost. You don't have to worry about gluing things in the wrong way. But the negative is that being one solid piece, there are a lot of extra areas where you're going to have some flashing, some mold lines that need to be cleaned away. This is the biggest offender right here that I found on the back of his carrying backpack. Right on the frame of it, you've got a lot of extra flashing. You're just going to take your hobby knife, using the sharp edge, gently drag it along so that you can remove that, almost like a really fat mold line. And taking a look at the rest of the miniature, on the back side, there is a little bit of extra flashing that needs to be scraped away there. But not a problem. It's such an easy thing to do. You just want to make sure that you don't have those large, obvious areas. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking a look at this little piece sticking out there, and I can't decide if it's a bit of flash or if it is a part of the model that got miscast. And sadly, the conclusion that I came to was that I think it's supposed to be like a gear and piston attached to his robot arm there, and that it should be connected. It looks like, unfortunately, it was not, and that's why it's kind of hanging on the side. I also found right on his chin on the right side there, you can see a little bit of an air bubble. So that's an unfortunate mistake that happened during the casting process as well. I'm looking for other bubbles. There aren't any that really stand out. Games Workshop's Finecast had the unfortunate history of having huge air bubbles, like in flat surfaces where there really shouldn't be any. Like in his backpack, you would have seen a couple of air bubbles right in the center. Looks like there are some miscast areas there on his right arm. Where all that detail is, it looks like there is a lot of mistakes that happen, and that's because there is so much detail when you're casting one huge piece like this. It's a lot easier for the resin to be coming out of the mold at a funky way, not quite set the way you want it to. When you're working with multiple smaller pieces, it's easier to get the clean lines and the shape that you want. But now taking a look, I'm deciding that you can really see he's going to belong in an AdMech army. He's got that gear, that cog around his neck. He's got the bionic eye, and just his entire backpack is built like a structure for the Adeptus Mechanicus. And when you consider that it's literally attached to him via his right arm, through the fingers and through the wrist, it's kind of attached to what he's holding. I really like this mixture of man and the machine. And we're taking a look at the base now, and it's got this interesting little design on the top, and then you can see a skull sticking out there. The backside isn't very impressive. It's just different kinds of textures, that sand grainy texture, and then the rock. And then first when I was building this guy, I thought, oh, the most interesting, the obvious way to do it is build it so that he's walking towards the face that's coming out from underneath the masonry. And that way it makes it more interesting to look at. If you're looking at it from behind, you're not really seeing anything except that texture. And then when I'm continuing to think about dry fitting and how this model is going to look when it's finally put together, I really thought, it occurred to me that if he's facing this textured side, the blank side, then your eye is going to be drawn more to him, more to what's going on his figure rather than the base itself. When you turn the model around, that base is going to be looking at you, but see if we have him facing forward with that base, it's a little too distracting. So in the end, I decided to go with the more unconventional facing away from the interesting looking part of the base, so that when you're turning around the model, you're spinning it around, you're looking at it, from whatever angle you're looking at the model, there's something interesting to look at. That's really a design choice on my part, and you can obviously glue it any way you want. The great thing about this is that it's your player's choice. They include these decorative bases, and you can put them on however you want. You don't even have to use it. You could use a standard Games Workshop 28mm base, but I've decided that this is the way I want to build him up. I think it's the most interesting way to do it. And just double checking right there. Yeah, I think the way we're going to go is have his backpack facing the same side as the broken masonry. There I'm using super glue, and for a second I got worried because I also have this plastic glue in the same identical applicator bottle. You don't want to make that mistake. That's almost as bad as when I was painting. I had my paint water next to me. I had my cup of coffee next to me. And thankfully I didn't drink paint water, but I have on multiple occasions went to dip my paintbrush into the coffee cup by accident. And it ruined my cup of coffee, ruined the paint. The paintbrush had to be cleaned out. So don't make that mistake, especially if you're painting after a hard, long day at work. You want to make sure everything is ready and safe for painting. Okay, now we're just gluing him on. I'm just holding him there, spending a little bit of time making sure that glue will set. And I love Scibor, you guys. Scibor miniatures, I can say this unbiased because I did not have this miniature sponsored and sent to me. A couple of years back, Scibor did ask if I could review some of their miniatures, and I just thought like, oh, free stuff, of course. But I realized that means I'm going to be a little bit biased towards them, and I wanted this to be completely honest and upfront. So I paid my own money for this miniature. That's why I'm pointing out all the different flaws. I'm going to do that with all of the other miniatures I get, but I just want to make sure that everybody's clear that I have no, no personal connection to this miniature. Let's test it out. Let's take it for a spin. I've got my standard dice here, standard size, regular old dice, D6, and I'm going to put it in there. You can see that when you're looking at the model from above the table, you want the face up. You want the side that you're looking at facing up, so that when you're looking down at the model from either side of the table, it's the side that's facing up that's going to be the side that you're using. So it looks good, you guys. What a cool model. Just there to hold the dice. That's his only purpose. You paint him up and he's going to be on the table sitting next to you, and he's just there to hold the dice. I really like it. I like the robes. I like the there's so many different ways you could paint this. There's so much potential in the color scheme. I'm thinking you go with the Adeptus Mechanicus red with the checkered black and white trim on the hood, or maybe on the sleeves, kind of do a John Blanche art style. The straps I would do in dark brown, and then I do metal, nice dirty iron for the backpack. Yeah, it's a great figure, and considering you're only going to be charged $10 for it, I think it's a really good, fun little extra thing that not many people are going to have. So when we're looking at painting this model, I would go with red for the robes, very Adeptus Mechanicus, and I would do some nice soft blending for all the folds. Then with the metal, I would go with a harder, dirty silver. So I would do a lead belcher, wash it down with known oil and some Agrax Earthshade, highlight it back up, use some extreme highlights to show the scratches, wear and tear, and then use selective Seraphim Sepia, different places to show where the oil and the grime has accumulated. It's a really cool model, very interesting and unique, except for the unfortunate air bubble in his face, as well as the miscast down by his right hand. I think it's a really fun addition. I would just clip away that flashing, clean it up, scrape it all away, all that detail, so it makes it a little bit smoother, and then you should be good to go. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to support my channel, then I'm going to include the link to that Patreon, as well as you can always hit that thumbs up button before you go. Subscribe to my channel if you're not, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this model. Do you collect Scibor miniatures? Do you have any of these alternative sculpts in your collection? I think it's really great to go outside the box of Games Workshop and add and I guess accessorize your Imperial armies with something like this. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. We'll see you in the next video.